Hey, and welcome to the ProtoPod, the podcast for engineers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and trailblazers shaping the future. Here, we dive into the cutting-edge worlds of prototyping, aerospace, rapid manufacturing, high-velocity mass customization, and beyond. I'm your host, Jordan Rose. Today, I'm thrilled to speak with Josh Zarecky, Chief Engineer of Zed Services based in Fishers, Indiana. Zed Services is a full-service engineering firm that focuses on the design and development of reliable, efficient, and economical electromechanical systems and specialized machines. Let's dive into it. Welcome in, Josh. First-time podcast guest is what you've told me. Josh, Chief Engineer at Zed Services, LLC. Josh, I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today. I am also a fellow engineer, and reading your profile, you're a technical person, an engineer by trade, who has now started a business to, I guess, further your engineering capabilities for a wide array of customers. That business, Zed Services, you've worked in industry for a while prior to starting it. Do you want to give me an idea of your journey to founding Zed Services?
Yeah, so it started in 2019. The almost decade leading up to that, I was working for a startup in Indianapolis developing ion sources for mass spectrometers.
Cool.
Which, really was a great opportunity to learn the startup side of things. Toward the end, 2017, 2018, Waters Corporation was buying their IP and they planned to exit the market.
Okay.
I was moonlighting, doing some design work, and kind of just decided to give it a go. I just had a kid, had a little bit of safety net, so started Zed Services and really just hit Upwork and found some really good clients, some of which I'm still working with today.
Awesome. So your moonlighting activity, that was developing products that you would then sell with Zed Services, is that correct?
No, actually, so at the time, so my dad's a machinist.
Nice.
And one
Love
of
that.
his clients, they do industrial automation conveyor systems. Okay. And so I was developing bracketry and mounting interfaces and kind of custom shielding and integration for their conveyor systems that he was building. And so just a lot of adaptations and shielding. So the company he works with does industrial laser printers.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
That does make sense because that's kind of that, turnkey or full service engineering type project, electromechanical product that you now work with your company.
Yep.
I wonder, what takeaways do you think you had in working with the startup? It's Prosolia. Is that
Prosolia?
Prosolia. That's pronounced that correct?
Yep.
What did you learn there that I guess the tools that you took to start your own business?
Really wearing multiple hats. If we step back prior to Prosolia, Beckman Coulter, you get the really big company. It's a machine, it moves, and you're just a small cog.
Yep.
Moving to a startup, I was involved in customer service. I was involved in product development. I helped build their quality management system. So I really got a lot of insights into all of the other aspects of business.
Yep.
Beyond just here's your design activity, go get it.
Right. So that experience you could leverage then in your work now. I guess, what excites you most about becoming an entrepreneur and now offering turnkey solutions to your customers? Like what is it that drives you forward now?
That's twofold, really. One is on the engineering design side. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate the challenge and the variety that comes with consulting engineering, a wide breadth of different projects and different technologies. I don't spend day in, day out for years on one thing.
Hmm.
And the other side of it is I get to spend a lot more time with my family. I'm not commuting. I'm not, gone before they wake up and home right about bedtime for my kid. So I really do appreciate the flexibility it avails me to life.
Yeah.
And work late, but go ride bikes during the middle of the day. Just kind
Yeah.
of our life a
The
little bit too.
flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, in terms of technical challenges, because like you said, in a consulting environment, there's a wide array of technical challenges that you have to overcome. You get all the satisfaction from that. I guess, is there any in particular that you might have overcome in the past that you can point to as the most satisfying?
Ooh, most satisfying technical challenges. Um, I don't know if a specific thing comes to mind. We kind of focus and try to specialize our business to analytical and life science instruments. Mechanical engineering, product development, is such a wide array of things you could work on. Our niche is characterized, I'd say, in a lot of ways by the challenges of integrating a lot of different systems. And so we do a lot of work with high voltage, fluidics, motion, which is, pretty common in a lot of industries. So, the technical challenges arise around the integration of all of these things and the idiosyncrasies required to kind of accomplish whatever that instrument's task is. Um, I do a lot of work with mass spectrometers. That's where my background was with Prosolia. I've managed to land myself some work kind of right aligned with that. And so there's a lot of you need to deliver solvent and apply maybe 5,000 volts to the sample to ionize it, and we're going to heat it up to 300 C. And there's a lot of you know things that solvents and then high voltage and conductive paths and isolation. There's a lot of technical challenge that comes with that type of a project. And so that's actually kind of really what drives me, is all of that technical challenge. And every project is a unique solution. It's not just slapping together commercial parts to build a system. It's custom design and integration.
Yeah, a lot of unknown in the project development world that you're in, and kind of sorting through those different uncertainties is absolutely sounds like a massive challenge given the technical complexities of them. Are you working within an environment where you're working with a number of different disciplines, maybe outside or inside your firm? And can you tell me, if you are, what that's like, and if there's any challenges that you face in that side of things, the people and working with individuals to accomplish these very complicated projects?
Yeah, and I'll add to that Zed Services is a fully remote company. So there are six of us, three of which are full time in three different states. Um, and everybody works from home. So we have a lot of teams meetings, but we build prototypes, we test things. So um, one easy challenge is co-locating materials and expertise. So we ship a lot of stuff back and forth. Um, our electrical engineer will build PCBs in Indiana and then, maybe ship it to me here in California, and I'll combine it with the hardware, and, the client ends up actually being in Texas. And we'll ship everything to them once integrated. So, aside from the normal people challenges, there's an extra layer of, I hate to call it disconnect because it's really not. I think we as a team communicate regularly and well. um, but certainly being fully remote, developing hardware systems does pose its challenges. And I end up on at a customer site with the electrical engineer on the phone trying to walk me through diagnostics on something, because he's half a country away.
Yeah. No, that it's incredible. I didn't expect you to say that. It was totally remote. And then, as you elaborated on the complexities of that in product development, would be very high. Something we talk about a lot on the show, obviously due to the nature of our business, and that we are pioneers in high velocity mass custom manufacturing, and allowing customers to have just in time manufacturing at their fingertips, quick turn. Can you maybe expand on how that tool of quick turn manufacturing solutions may or may not play a very important part in your ability to, complete your prototyping, keep project momentum going, solve the problems that you're trying to solve, in that very complicated, interesting, remote environment that you're kind of working in?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's absolutely critical. And directly to Protocase and sheet metal stuff, which what we work with Protocase for. It allows us to make design changes and iterations and get quick low volume prototypes, as well as perhaps some higher volume stuff if we do support production. Um, the other thing, we're mechanical engineers. I have a background in machining. I've been working with Protocase for well over a decade now across different companies. Um, the DFM, design for manufacturability feedback that I get on designs from Protocase, is really beneficial to our success and ultimately our clients and our project's success. And we get that quickly, before we make something. And, we're obviously able to learn from those iterations, but it prevents us from making mistakes that could cost our customers down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really critical. In lean project development. I know you also said you support production, but the ability to have that quick turn solution, that gives you flexibility in your project planning, I can imagine that is a massive factor there. I did want to touch on the people side of that. So you talked about the technical challenges of remote work, and co-locating when you need to. But what are the leadership or people challenges in terms of you as a leader in your organization, maintaining alignment on the strategic goal of a project, whilst being as you said, half a country away or half a continent away?
Yeah, and I mean that is one of the outlier challenges that we're working to address. Um, so I've recently brought on part time a technical person. He's actually a dual major, mechanical electrical, but he's helping on kind of the systems project program management side of things and doing one-on-ones with the employees. Maybe getting feedback that I wouldn't otherwise capture, having a just technical meeting. um, Requirements management is one we're trying to really hit hard and get better at managing, and giving the electrical engineer more insight into what the mechanical engineer is developing and vice versa. Being that we can't just turn around and talk to the next cubicle necessarily. The people side actually is probably one of the bigger challenges. Now, I think we have the technical well resolved at this point after 6+ years of doing it. But as the team grows, the people side becomes more challenging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Um,
that totally makes sense to me. I can't imagine again you're introducing latency there, and quick things like maybe a requirement change. I can imagine would become more difficult.
yeah, and of course, all the technology and tools and automation, everything that's available today, we're really trying to leverage a lot of that
Yep.
to close the gap.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so you're not duplicating information, things automatically updating. Absolutely.
Yep.
One of the things that intrigued me most, was that you are expanding your capabilities, again, to offer more of a full turn solution to your customers. If you were to describe how you resolve your customers' pain, what pain would you guys be resolving? What are you guys fixing for your customers?
We are developing a solution to their problem. Their
Mm-hmm.
problem, in the case of our customers, is often an analytical or chemical workflow that's manual or labor
Okay.
intensive or hard to accomplish with precision.
Yep.
And so we are developing instrumentation to control and automate that process.
Mm.
Or, perhaps just building the system, not necessarily to their specification, but they have a workflow. Sample in, goes through this, does X, Y, Z, needs
Yep.
to be positioned here. We're designing the system to put those bits and pieces together for them in a professional, industrial designed, sleek package that they can market.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So you're making their lives easier and their customers' lives easier through the automation process or automating of a manual process. Yeah, that's super intriguing. Is there any that you can share, any projects that have done that more exceptionally well than others? Any that you're most proud of as a standalone project? You say, hey, we couldn't have automated this any better for our customer.
Oh man, there's always room for improvement. So I can't say any better necessarily. That's the nature of being an engineer. There's always opportunity. Um, that being said, and I guess I'll shout out, one of our clients, Hyperion Analytical, that's been with us really since the beginning. We're probably on the fourth iteration of their system. Um, and it's a laser imaging system for nanoparticle tracking analysis. Here's one of my setbacks. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have been working with chemistry people my entire career. I don't always understand all of the chemistry,
Yeah.
um, but their system is at this time, um, easy to manufacture, easy to assemble, really sleek controlled BOM with a balance of machined where needed. We're actually doing 3D printing for
Oh,
production where
wow.
we can. Protocase is building the enclosures and a few pieces internally.
Nice.
We developed the printed circuit board, wrote the firmware. It's a cohesive system, collaborative.
Yep.
Wow, collaboratively developed
Yep.
between us, the client, and the one um, service we don't offer today is software. So there's a third-party software company supporting it as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, I can imagine as your customer how that experience seems very seamless, and that it takes away a lot of their pain and maybe having to interact with who's somebody who's developing the PCB and the firmware and then the mechanical side, and it just really simplifies things for them. So I can definitely see the value. I guess my next question is, where do you think you see Zed Services growing in the next 5, 10, whatever years? Where do you see your business developing further?
Yeah. Um, we're really trying to focus in our niche, which is the
Mhm.
analytical instruments. Um, I am trying to grow the team and to better support the industry we're targeting. We're trying to develop kind of some standardized processes, maybe a lean quality management system that we can almost deliver to a client out of the box, to better support not only their development, but their path to market and their regulatory and compliance pathways. We do a little bit of medical device work, which is a whole different, complexity of
Yeah.
regulatory.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
even for research instrumentation, there's ROS compliance and
Yep.
CE marking and machinery safety standards and documentation requirements along the way. And so as we grow and try to refine our offering, if you will, a big part of it is beyond the technical is the design package and the complete, story that we
Yeah.
deliver.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It is definitely a path that seems like it's very well suited to your and your team's skill set. As somebody who has been a successful entrepreneur, Jesus, I messed that one up, boys. Cut that one out.
That's the first one in a while, dude.
Engineer to
Don't ask me to spell it.
yeah, engineer to entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. I should term that. So somebody who has been a successful engineer to entrepreneur, do you have any advice for anybody who may be listening that was in a similar position to you were and wants to start their own business? Do you have any advice that you would give them?
A piece of advice that I received early on in my career, because I was fortunate to have a good manager, is don't be afraid of failure. And the best lessons and, really the best products come out of failure early in the development life cycle. And, one of the sayings, I guess, that I do use periodically is fail early and fail often. And if you can create cheap prototypes to test subcomponents of a system, do it. Figure out what works, what doesn't work before you spend, $50,000 building the whole thing.
Absolutely, it's funny. It's another common theme on this show, and I'll spare you my response because I've said it a lot of times on here, but I couldn't have said it any better than that. So I think that's a perfect way to end it on the theme of duct tape solutions and figuring out your unknowns quickly. Josh, if anybody out there is listening and wants to find Zed Services, where do they go?
www.z-services.com or LinkedIn, Zed Services. That's where you'll find me, the business, and hopefully more information as the year progresses. We're going to try expanding with some blog posts
Awesome.
And really getting into some of the things you can learn in instrumentation development.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. If there's anything that you want to come on and discuss again, feel free to reach out, and we'd be happy to have you on again. That was an awesome conversation. So until next time, Josh.
Great. I appreciate it. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.